Hi guys, in this class we will discuss about jQuery different selectors. You know that in the previous class we have discussed syntax of jQuery in which you need to select any HTML element and then perform action on that HTML element. So there are different types of jQuery selectors I will discuss you. One of them is HTML element. You can target any element directly, for example h1, h2 up to h6, any hp image, so you can direct any HTML element direct. Another is the id. From id, for example we have a id Joffrey, you can target that element using its id value, using class, using attribute value. And another is a universal selector. So these are different types of selector that we'll cover in this class. HTML element selector. First of all, you can see that h1 is an element here. This is the element selector. You can also mention here, for example p, paragraph, image, div, table, for. So these are different types of element selector. You have to put a dollar sign before this one, and then dot and any action or event. For example click. When a user click on this element, some function should perform. So here you can mention any element selector. For example document.ready function, and you can see that this is a btn, means any id of element. So you can see this is a hash symbol. Hash symbol is used to denote id. For example h1 and its id is equal to btn. So it means that btn is the id value. When we target this h1 specific, we will use btn with hash symbol. This is the id selector. Dot click, and you can see that h1, this is the element selector without hash symbol, dot symbol. This is the element selector, and it should hide when we click on this button. This is the id. So another is a id selector. id selector, you can see that Java is a id because we used a hash symbol. This is a id selector. For example, you can see the document already. This is another id selector. When click on this id element should hide. Element which have a Java id should hide. So another is a class selector. For class you have to put a dot symbol. If you know about this selector, when you select any HTML element and apply this style, then it will be easy for you to understand. We have discussed each and every selector in CSS code. You can watch that. You can see that this should hide. Dot Java means this class should hide. This is a selector, that is a class selector. Another is the attribute selector. So in this case it means that h1 which have title attribute, then we will perform action on that element. Document.ready, you can see that h1 should hide but those h1 which have title attribute. Another is a title with value, attribute with value selector. You can see that title and its value is Java. We want to make more specific. We want to select h1 but those h1 which have title, but those h1 which have title attribute and also should have this value, Java value. Then we will perform action on that h1. You can see that we want target, or we want to hide that h1 which have title attribute and its value should be Java, not any other one. So these are different types of selector. Another is universal selector. Universal selector, you have to put a star symbol. It means that all the HTML element of the document. When we want to target all the element of a document, we use a static symbol. For example, document.ready function, and then it means that all the document elements should hide. So these are different types of selector we discussed in this class. Now I open Visual Studio Code and understand practically how you can work with this type of selectors. In a Visual Studio Code, first of all create a new file and save this file. This is jQuery selectors.html, and then what you have to do, copy this and paste here, and then I want to change its title, jQuery selectors. I want to remove this one. I will write again, and you can see that this is a due, its id is b. I want to write here something. This is the due, and I want to write more h1. For example, another h1 joffreycode.com. Another h2 is, for example, we are learning jQuery. Another h3, for example, Faisal Zamir. Another is, for example, paragraph. You can learn jQuery with us. Another paragraph, for example, HTML, CSS, jQuery. So these are different element I have mentioned here. I want to give a class to this h1, for example, class, and its value is, for example, Joffrey, and I want to provide a class to this paragraph, or I want to provide id to this paragraph, for example, para, its id. Now I want to open this file in browser. This is file jQuery selector. You can see that all the data is displaying here. Now I want to use jQuery, and I will select any one of them's HTML element to perform different action. Now I want to first of all, you have to put a $, and then dot ready function, and this is basic syntax. Here you can target document, and then in ready we want to pass a function. This function syntax. Inside function body, what I want to do, I want to select, for example, this is our selector b. This is a b. What is b? B is id. For that reason I will put a hash symbol dot. When click on this b, what you want to do, I want to run a function. Here you have to put a semicolon, and then what I want to take action, I want that element selector, for example, h1 is an element selector. This is the element selector. You do not need to put any dot symbol or hash symbol, so you have to write name of element. This is the element selector. I want to target all the h1, and then what I want to hide. When I click on this b id, all the h1 should hide, and I refresh this one. When I click this one, you can see that all the h1 are now removed or hide. You can also use a toggle. It will hide, show, hide and show, hide and show. When I refresh, click, you can see that. So it will work nice. Now I want to target using class. You can see that Joffrey. I did not want to remove all the h1, but only those h1 which have a class Joffrey. I want to remove Joffrey class element, not specific h1. For example, this class have h1, h2, all the element will hide and show. When I click this one, only one h1 is removing here, hide and show. I want to provide this class to h1. Now it will remove h2 and h1 also. And refresh, you can see that this is jQuery, and we are learning these two will hide. You can see that, and then show. Now another is a id selector. So you can see that I want to target this para. I want to this para because this is id, and you need to put a hash symbol. So it will remove element which have para id. So only this element which have para id it will remove. Refresh, you should know, you can it will remove, hide and show, hide and show. So another is a attribute selector. For that reason, what you have to do, I want to provide a attribute to this for example, to this h1 title, and its value is Joffrey, and then provide this title, its value is Faisal, You can see that. So I want to target. So h1 have id title, value is Joffrey. h1 have title but its value is Faisal. I want to target this one. I want to target h1, not all the h1 but those h1 which have title attribute, that h1 will hide. This h1 and this h1 both have title attribute, but x now I want to mention here without title attribute, so it will not remove. When I open and refresh this one, when I click here, you can see that it did not remove because this is title without title attribute. This h1 when hide and show. So it will target and find those h1 which have title attribute, not other. But I want to make more specific its value. I want to mention here its value should be Joffrey, not any other. Now in this case it will remove this h1 only, not other. When refresh, it will remove only this one because it have Joffrey value. You can see that only one h1 is removing here because only one h1 which have title attribute and its value is Joffrey, not other. So these are different types of selector. Another is a universal selector. For example, universal selector means you want to target all the document element. You have to put a static symbol. It means that I want to hide all the documents element. When refresh, when I click here, you can see that all the elements remove here. So this is working of a universal selector. So you can see the different types of selector we have discussed in this class. For example, HTML element selector, ID selector, class selector, attribute with value selector, and universal selector. So these are different types of selector you can use in jQuery to target any element to perform different action.